Yes, I know that the title is clickbaity, but I think it perfectly captures the attention of what I'm trying to say. And also, if you don't think that I'm correct, please watch the video first and then you can criticize me later in the comment section. I didn't like Whitepine, like the entire series, the 4 episodes that already came out at this point. However, I think that a lot of people should try watching it at least once. Before breaking down what I don't like about Whitepine, I'd like to first address the good parts. I think that sets in Whitepine are really well made. All of the buildings, the interiors and stuff like that, I think it's amazing. The skins also very well complement the sets, so overall they look harmonic in the picture. The shaders are also well chosen for the series. The vibe is like consistent here. The music and the effects are actually great. I think that's like one of the strongest point, if not the strongest point of Whitepine. From what I know, the music itself is done by Ivory herself and released on the second channel for everyone else to use, which is also very cool. And I think the cinematography, or at least how the shots are composed, also look very well. Now, let's get into the fun part. Why I don't like Whitepine and why I find it boring to watch. So, the first point is walking simulator. I think that a lot of footage could be condensed in Whitepine, because most of the time characters just walking around and there's nothing really interesting happening between, like, it doesn't really send any message, it doesn't really form any chemistry between characters when they walk, it's just like vibing. For example, in the first episode, from 16th minute to 21st, Ivory is basically just walking around the garden, goes to the basement and then just presses one piano note. Yes, it has some meaning, but I think it's really stretched out. I don't really see a lot of point in so much walking. My second point is that there is a weak chemistry between characters and no character development. From all of the interactions that Ivory had with other characters, I think the interaction between her and Seraptor was most interesting. In comparison, Whitepine didn't really make me feel anything toward other characters. I didn't really care what happened to other characters and the way Ivory interacted with them, only the one that with Seraptor and Ivory were interesting. And throughout 4 episodes, I didn't really spot any character development in Ivory. I think she stayed the same and that's boring as well. My third point is that voice acting in Whitepine is really dull. While I understand that the Victorian era setting is kind of limiting the amount of expression, but I think there still could be a little bit more expression to the voice acting. I think Ivory could have directed to add like little tonality changes to the voice in certain situation to like create an intrigue or something, or some micro expression to the voice without exaggerating the mood. But for the rest part, the voice acting turned out, in my opinion, neutral, and because of that it's less enjoyable to watch. Finally, I think that Whitepine has an inconsistent and jumping plot/story. Before I'll make a point, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Whitepine, watch all 4 episodes and then return back, or skip to the next chapter. In the end of the first episode, Misty Cat gets murdered. In the beginning of the second episode, there is an interrogation of the personnel, but right after that, Whitepine goes on to a series of different subplots and scenes, while reminding about the main thing, Misty Cat's murder, occasionally. The lack of plot direction makes Whitepine very aimless and thus boring to me. Honestly, I don't really understand why Whitepine is so popular. It has 1.1 million views on the first episode and almost 2 million views combined. The comment section is incredibly supportive and positive. Meanwhile, I find it pretty boring. I asked a couple of my friends what do they think about Whitepine, and majority of them said that it's boring as well. However, one of my friends liked Whitepine and their explanation was that it has incredible visuals and it's really vibey. My conclusion is, while I didn't enjoy Whitepine myself, I think it's good that it exists. I think it has capacity to inspire more people to make original content, and while Whitepine itself is boring for me, I hope more people will create more videos like Whitepine. I recommend you to check out Whitepine, at least on the surface level. I'm open to discussion. If you think that I'm wrong, I invite you to leave a comment. This is my first time creating a critique video, so I'm sure I made some mistakes. Thank you very much for watching and goodbye!